Welcome home. I'm Marc. I'm joined today by Danielle Damianov. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it is a pleasure. Danielle's a sales manager, retail lending at CMG Home Loans. You can find out more at shortsalessecretsunlocked.com. In fact, that is the name of her first book that was published on Amazon. As you can see here, Real Estate Secrets Unlocked. And her next book, launching her second book next Friday, March 24th. It's called Short Sales Secrets Unlocked. And shortsalessecretunlocked.com is where you can get more information and get your hands on that book there. Congratulations on your second book.
Thank you so much.
That's amazing. So what's it like being a published author twice over, not just once?
Well, we're launching the second one. It's going to be great. I mean, just with everything going on right now, it's crazy. I started writing that book in August of 2021, and now here we are. It's going to be launch day on the 24th. So it should be great information.
Aside from your lending practices and working with mortgages, you also work with digital branding. You have programs and coaching, and you have your own YouTube that looks really awesome. Some really great work on there as well. And our viewers can check that out on youtube.com at Danielle Damianov, DANELLE I don't think you have to spell that out. It's going to be like printed everywhere.
Yeah.
But in any case...
So I have two channels. So the Danielle Damianov, and then Real Estate Secrets Unlocked is the other one.
Okay, so two different YouTube channels. And tell us, let's just start off with that, your YouTube channel. When did you realize having that kind of digital branding and that sort of digital content to be as valuable as it is? And when did you, realize that you're able to pass on that same kind of information to other people to use?
Yes, so I started with one channel, and I realized that the other one I wanted to focus more on like real estate agents and sales professionals growing your business, and all just different business tips. The other one is more geared towards mortgage. So
okay, well, I know we can talk about mortgages. I mean, we can definitely dig into some stuff that I'm sure consumers are wondering, and even realtors like myself are concerned about as well. We can dig into that, but let's stay on that topic for a little bit, because if you are a real estate agent and you're not able to figure out, or even a loan officer, originator, you're trying to figure out right now, like how to get going in this here slowed down market and whatnot, which we've talked about on this program already. Digital content is definitely a sure way to separate yourself from, maybe the other 80% who are scratching their heads with you. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I get that. But how can you speak, or what would you speak on that, people who are trying to find their way in the business right now and aren't scratching that surface just yet?
yeah, so first of all, digital content is huge, and so people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And so even though people don't know you, if you put out that content, they feel like they know you. And so that consistent content on social media is huge. So definitely you want to do that. You want to stay consistent with what you're putting out there. And then you also want to go back to the basics and do some of that old school. I know no one likes it, but database management, picking up the phone, calling people, that type of stuff. So,
Sure. And when you see agents prospecting, what are some of the mistakes you see them make that they think they're doing the right thing, granted, but what are some of those common mistakes that realtors are making when they're prospecting for new business?
So the number one mistake is consistency. They're not consistent. They don't do it every single day. They think that they're going to do it a couple of days. And that's not just in real estate. That's in, really anything. People have a hard time being consistent, especially with things that they don't enjoy doing. And so consistency is number one. They think I'm going to start cold calling and I'm going to do it a couple of days a week, but it doesn't work like that. You have to be consistent and really 5 days a week, every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've actually been in one of your seminars at Keller Williams Tampa Central. You came by, bought us lunch, gave us a great seminar and some great information. And one of the things that you talk about is leveraging social media for your business. So consistency clearly is the number one thing. Being consistent, even if you're not that great at something, if you're consistent enough, eventually something will catch on, right? So aside from consistency, what are some of the other important pointers for some of these agents? Because I can tell you, Danielle, I have a lot of agents who reach out to me, and I'm flattered, and I do pass information on when I can. They want to know how we're doing what we're doing when it comes to the digital stuff and all that. So what are some of the tips you could give them if they're watching this video now?
In terms of digital?
Yeah, in terms of getting it started, if they're just trying to figure out, hey, how can I get my, whether it's, some people don't even know how to do a walkthrough video on their listing, for instance,
Right.
and it's not that it's simple, but it's not overcomplicated. So what are some general things for some people to do? Would it be to get coaching, maybe to do some seminars, some classes? What would you tell someone who's new to that?
Yeah. So in the beginning, a lot of times people don't have the money to pay for coaching. And so you kind of have to figure it out on your own. I'm a student, I'm always learning. And so you really have to take the time. If you don't have the money for leverage, which I'll talk about in a minute, you have to take the time to figure out how to do it. And I also ask a million questions of a million different people. So when I see somebody doing something and I like what I see, I will go and, reach out to them, whether I know them or not, and just say, hey, would you mind a 15-minute phone conversation with me or a Zoom call? I'm curious how you do this. So really being a student and figuring out how to do it is number one. I had somebody over my house about 4 or 5 months ago to show me how to use my cell phone properly for pictures, like different apps for editing. I paid her $150. She came over and she showed me how to do a lot of things.
Wow. One of the best $150 you probably ever spent.
Totally.
I mean, that's a lunch out with some colleagues that you're covering the bill. That's a good buy.
Exactly. So, really just figuring out, like seeing who you like on social media and then figuring out what they're doing and how they're doing it. The other thing, like I mentioned, is consistency and leverage. So I use virtual assistants for so many things. Speed of implementation is huge. And so they always say the most successful people are, implement fast. You don't have to be a perfectionist. You just want to get it out there. The other thing is batch content. So sometimes people will say, oh, I'm going to do a video on Tuesday. Well, instead of doing one video on Tuesday, make Tuesday video day and say, okay, I already have the setup. I'm going to, video 5 or 6 different videos on Tuesday. And that way you have your content. I mean, you can really put content out for a month or 2 months. You could do a whole year if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I understand like that. That's really valuable. I'm not necessarily in the studio twice a week, but it might look like it.
Right.
I bring a change of clothes sometimes. I might bring 2 changes of clothes. So I'll do an interview and then I may get lucky and have 2 interviews that day. And then I might actually do some solo content where I'm doing, some of my own stuff where I'm, 3 tips or whatever the case is. So batch content's huge. And then not just that, let's say I do 2 episodes. Let's say I did 2 interviews. I mean, those 2 interviews could be 2 to 3 hours worth of content that I can really, as I call in this studio, I could milk that for like a month, like you said. Absolutely. I can clip out those nice highlights, put them out there. Of course, the YouTube will host the full episode, but I leverage, Facebook. I don't expect someone on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok to watch my a 60-minute podcast on those platforms, but I know that they'll watch something that's riveting, thought-provoking, has captions and maybe some music so that they can keep their attention. And that's kind of where we're at today. I think that's the leverage. And so, what are your thoughts on what I just said? Because that's kind of where my mind's at with my production. I want to get your thoughts on that.
No, totally. Absolutely. Batching. I have a post going out today at 2 p.m. on several channels and I'm sitting here, right, talking to you. So there's so many different websites and apps and things that you can literally plan out. My social media is planned for the month. So it's already done. I don't have to do anything. I have it all planned out. It's all scheduled and it's going to post whether I post it or not. Right. So that comes back to being consistent and having that consistency. And the only way to have consistency is to batch content, do it all, in one day or a couple of days, or like we had talked about earlier, having Fridays be your work on the business day, not in the business. So you're doing that on Fridays, and then whether you're doing the editing, I am terrible at that. So I have somebody else that does that for me. But virtual assistants are awesome. College kids, your teenagers. I'm trying to get my daughter to do it for me, but she's not doing it basically. But yeah, I mean, I would pay her to do it for me. So if you have kids that like doing that,
Yeah, and the kids younger they seem to know how to use those apps more and more. All those extra little widgets on the apps that we don't use, that's for the kids. They know what all those things do.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to keep it consistent and simple. What I mean is, it takes time to caption the content. It takes time to get the music and maybe level the audio. And the way I do my short clips and reels. They're very like kind of chop edited is sort of my style. Not such a clean flow, but a little bit more choppy, and that's sort of the style that I picked up on with reels. And I mean, that stuff does take time, but when you do it where it's kind of rinse and repeat, it gets a little bit easier, and you're sort of doing the same thing over and over. And then you get a little bit smarter with figuring out how to sort of make it more efficient, and not have to do as much work, not just by batch content creation, but also, for instance, making a good caption and having all the hashtags ready and all that is another job in its own. But just having those things, I'll have those things sorted out on Word or in my notes in my phone or whatever. And this is like, I'm trying to figure the analogy out here, Danielle, because we're both thinking about the same thing, and I know we are. And I'm trying to think about that analogy. It's like that.
We probably are.
Yeah. I know. Hold on. It's that. It's that dirty. That, what is it? Guilty pleasure that we all know and love for $20 a month, called Chat GPT, that has made coming up with captions and hashtags so much easier. Yeah, and for me to be able to tell Chat, and I want to have some fun with the Chat GPT today. Okay. I'm going to pull it up on my computer, and we're going to talk to Chat GPT.
So my podcast, my intro is verbatim Chat GPT.
How's that?
Like I said, give me an intro for a podcast. I forgot what I put in, but it was like, for real estate agents, to learn how to grow and scale their business. And it gave me the podcast intro, and I'm like, perfect. I recorded it. Bam. That's my intro, on my podcast.
Okay. We'll circle back to that.
Okay.
Because I definitely have a value and morals thing where how I use it, but how I filter it as well, like to be sure that it's still me. Because I think that's really one of the big things that we'll talk about, and I wanted to bring up as well today, because I know that you're familiar with AI and using Chat GPT to actually leverage your business. So I do want to talk about that, but first let's stay on the topic of the social media stuff. So you can use Chat GPT to say, hey, I'll tell Chat GPT, hey, I'm about to post a reel on Facebook. It's about A, B, and C. And I want you to write a caption that is likely to create debate, conversation, and engagement. And also gear it towards women between 25 and 47. And then and make sure that, and then also, hey, ChatGPT, make sure the hashtags are all sort of either trending or on the, like, you can prompt, basically ChatGPT, this thing called prompting it, which is a huge part of it. And the more you prompt it, the more it'll give you like exactly what you're asking for. And then boom, it'll pop out the caption of your for your video, plus all the hashtags. And the good thing about the caption is, while folks like yourself, and maybe myself, we have a way with words, we're able to write, but the AI has a way with words that knows how the masses will react to certain flow of words, a certain choice of vocabulary, and the pattern of words and all that. Think that even like, folks like us who are very articulate or might have good, writing skills, or like still don't really understand as much, because it's more psychological and more on a mass scale of something that we haven't had a chance to survey ourselves, or even for me anyway. So I think that that's really one of the things I really love about the AI is me actually writing the caption, but telling it to rewrite this caption, but in a way where it's likely to create engagement for the masses, right, rather than just what I think sounds good.
Well, and you can also, like, once it writes it, you can say, well, can you remove this and go a little bit deeper on this? So you really can, take it and make it your own. So like with my podcast intro, for example, I did tweak some things in it, and I was like, well, I love this, but I'm going to add this, or like have it a little bit more towards like what my show's about. Mm-hmm. So you can ask it, if I said, give me 5 reasons why, whatever, and then I don't like reason number 4, I can say, can you remove reason number 4 and then give me another, Mm-hmm. So It's great. And it's really good for people that just don't know how to get started. But once it gives you, how to get started with whatever you're writing,
right?
You can then kind of take it and go with it and make it your own.
Yeah. Yeah. I encourage, because I believe in it. because it's an accelerator for your business, an accelerator for people who, if you can work smarter and not harder, why not, right? So, but I really encourage people to, while the AI is learning from you to get better, be sure you're learning from it. So I'll give, I hate to give the same example as the last episode, but for me, I have a little bit more of a brash delivery. I might not always sound as soft-hearted as I actually am in my speech or in my emails. And so Chat GPT is training me to become just different with my words. And I think that's valuable rather than you giving it the ropes and say, hey, take the wheel. No, it's more like, hey, I'm reading every word it shows me, and so if it's emails and it's writing emails for you, that's great. It helps us be efficient with our businesses. You can give it a bunch of bullet points, boom, and it'll give you a professional email. That's great. I believe in that. But I'm reading those emails and I'm training myself how to write that because because that's the other part of this, right? Is the dependency, the over dependency on AI. So I pay for the plus version. Why? Because there's been times where I'm working and all of a sudden it tells me, what does it tell me?
Yeah, that you need to get in and it's not allowing you to get in.
Because the capacity, right? How does that work for a business who fires everybody and uses OpenAI?
Right.
So how's that? So there's definitely some gray areas there. People are already losing jobs in a lot of fields because of AI, because of Chat GPT. And I guarantee some of those people who did the firings are using like the free version, thinking that they've ran into gold. They own small businesses, medium-sized businesses, or their management, and they really shouldn't be, like a lot of people in management. No offense to management, but you know what I mean? Like not the best. So a lot of people probably reacted a little too quickly. We have no control over the AI. We have no control over even though it's like open source, or I don't know if it's open source. I'm not really a tech guy, but I know it's open. It's like, it's called OpenAI. We can use it. It's there for us. But my theory, and I want to get your feedback on it, is this, that it's free and open to us because they are using us to create something much bigger and much more expensive that we probably won't be able to afford. That's my theory on this. That's why I love it. I like it. I want to use it. But I'm also a little bit, it's too good to be true forever.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about that.
Well, now think about it.
Yeah, no, I know. No, I haven't thought about that. I mean, I use it for a lot of things. I think it's great. A lot of people still don't know about it, believe it or not. I mean, I was talking to somebody not too long ago, and I was like, oh, Chat GPT, and they were like, what's that? I was like, what?
I first heard it on Joe Rogan, and I didn't know what they were talking about. It sounded like a robot. I was like, that's a weird name for a robot.
Right. Yeah, no, it's for real estate agents, right? So a lot of times when you are entering a listing into the MLS, you get stuck at like, oh, what should I put for a description? And so you can tell it, give me a description of a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home on the water in Tampa that,
all day, baby. I use it for that all day.
Yeah.
It makes me look like I should be on Selling Sunset, like the A+ version of the show.
Exactly.
Like I should be writing the show.
Exactly.
Yeah, that the word choices with them. I mean, geez, Pete.
I know.
Good stuff.
Yep.
I love it.
And I like how you were saying you keep all of your stuff on like Word docs or whatever. It keeps it right there for you.
Yeah.
So it's just there.
And categorized. I have different assistants and names and of the assistants. I have a consultant for this. I have a consultant because remember, you're constantly sort of prompting it, and each of those chats is an ongoing conversation. It remembers everything, and the more you tell it in that conversation, the more it'll sort of. But here's the other thing with Chat GPT. I don't know if it's also with the new one that's Chat GPT 4 just like rolled out this week. I haven't tried it yet. Maybe I have. I'm not. See, I like using it, but I'm not like the when's the next version guy. I'm just more like, okay, I'm using the old version. I don't care. I still like it.
Yeah.
But from my understanding, it only knows stuff from 2019 and before. Oh. And it'll tell you that too. So there'll be times where it'll say, well, just so you know, as an OpenAI, I only know stuff from 2000. So there's a lot of more current things that it doesn't have implemented into it. So there's a lot of, obviously we know there are tremendous applications, so many different applications for it, but there's also that timeliness. Like I can't ask it about, hey, this just happened in the news. Go read this news story. Go read these news stories about this stuff. Go learn about this and then come back because I want to ask you to, help me write a monologue. like it doesn't have that capacity yet for like
Right.
super recent stuff. But it'll obviously get more and more. I mean, it's going to get so insane. Like I said, at one point, my theory is that it will be, they're creating something that we won't have, we won't really have the.
Or we'll have probably, access to what we have right now. Whatever they're creating, we might not have access to like the big, the big stuff. But
They might just be using us. Like, period. Like, it'll just go away. Like, we are using you. We're using the masses who, I mean, oh my God. Do you know the numbers of how quickly they got subscribers?
like what, 100
Well,
million? I don't know.
well, it was 1 million in like a matter of a few days.
Yeah.
Where if you compare it to the Facebook and I mean all these other big large subscriber base. I mean Facebook took like years or something for 1 million. All these other, it was just ridiculous. But it could be we're just being used so that we as a society can be just constantly training this AI.
Yeah.
And we don't know what the result is, what's actually being built. It's so beyond my scope of knowledge, but I'm also not.
I mean, people are making money just teaching other people how to do it. It was funny. I had a real estate agent text me the other day and she's like, oh my God, Danielle, there's some guy like charging $99, for a class on this. And I know somebody else that just charged $500, and I'll see like 2-day events. And I'm thinking, what can you possibly teach at a 2-day event only on Chat GPT? I don't know, but
Honestly, Danielle, I think that there are so many things that we don't even know it can do. I've had it build spreadsheets for me. Okay.
Oh.
Yep. And it will actually be a spreadsheet. I've had it do diagrams. It will build a diagram. I've had it write code. It'll say, oh, I'm sorry, as OpenAI, I don't actually write code. But if I was to write that code, this is what it would probably look like. And then boom, all this code that I don't know what coding is. I just wanted to know if I could write code. So I was like, write a code for me for an app that would do A, B, C, D, whatever. And they're like, oh, well, we don't write code. But if we did,
take that code and put it in and see if it will build the app.
But I don't know I'm not a tech guy. I don't know how to do that stuff.
YouTube is my best friend. So anything I need to like learn how to do, I'm on YouTube all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting ready.
Yeah.
And so YouTube, I learned so much from that. So I would go to YouTube and say, what apps out there can I give it code and it will build me an app? And I guarantee you it's another AI.
Shout out to the YouTube heroes who put those videos out.
Exactly.
Shout out to the car repair stuff that I have repaired so many things in luxury vehicles like Mercedes and Lexus that most people wouldn't touch because of YouTube.
Yeah.
Without issue. I mean, cars, this studio, the control room behind you. Oh, that's another one. Chat GPT has helped me like with tech stuff phenomenally. It's way better than Google. So for instance, if I tell Chat GPT, all right, Chat GPT, I'm going to go and I'm going to do, for instance, I'm going to do a live stream at I'm going to go set up this big broadcast. This is the equipment I'm using. I'm using these cameras, I'm using these mixers, I'm using these video switches, data. I'll just lay out all the equipment I'm using, and then I'll tell me how to set everything up, but also make sure I have X, Y, and Z capabilities. Boom, and then it'll just lay out an instruction manual. It's that for me has helped quite a bit too.
You used it a lot more than me. That's awesome. I mean, even
well, you called me out at Keller Williams because I mean that lightheartedly, jokingly, but you had asked about all these tech things, and you're like, "Who uses this?" And I was like, "And you're like, "Oh, I guess you use everything." I'm like, "Kind of," and I was like, "Well,
we're the only one," so I was like very appreciative.
But it was
like we're speaking the same language over here.
Yeah, exactly, and that was one of the reasons I was, really, excited to bring you in because I thought that you'd be able to help contribute a lot to a lot of the stuff that I'm interested in myself. That's what the show's about.
Right.
It's about stuff that I like doing.
Yeah.
And then you're doing it. So it's about you today. Do you know what I mean? Like I bring people on that I find interesting, or maybe my producer might find interesting, and we collaborate on this together. And that's what this show's about. And I was like, oh wow, she's giving the seminar that something similar that I'd like to give to my colleagues. Not that I'd be the one to do it. I'm not a digital brand coach or anything like that, but I'm like, yeah, this is what we need here. I was like, I thought it was amazing. Great execution too, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, you was very engaging. Very hard to do sometimes in that room. You'll know. So in that room, you'll know you're doing a great job when no one has their phone in their hand, and maybe a fork in their hand, just like eyes on you while they're eating, and they're like,
Well, it's so funny because whenever I do, and I think I even asked, whenever I do a seminar, and sometimes I'll do a 2-hour seminar and literally no one talks. And I'm like, is anyone under like picking up what I'm throwing down? Are they, I never know, right? Because the reaction from the people in the room, it's not like super engaging.
well. So here's something. To be fair, I missed the first probably 5 or 10 minutes, so I didn't get the intro. I think I was, I don't know, on the phone or something. I didn't know you were a lender until like after the seminar. Now that's the point I'm making is you came in with a different flavor of presentation, something that actually everybody does need. People in our business, we do need to understand how to use digital media and see other people who are doing it, get your feedback, tell us how we can do it. And quite frankly, you gave some detailed information too. Hey, do this, do it just like this, go on this website, here's Canva. And I found that to be really generous. So I thought that was great. But you bring a different flavor of seminar. You're not just out there selling your mortgages
Right.
and loans, which is perfectly fine. We need those too. You know, we need loans. Our clients need those. But you have so much more to offer.
Pretty boring topic though.
It can be. Well, let me try to make it not boring. Let me take that as a challenge. Hold on. Let me see what I've got here. Just give me 1 second. All right. This is a little bit more of a quick question because it's something I've wondered and I'd rather ask a lender than Google. Does student loan debt hinder somebody from buying a home or buying power?
Yes and no. So depending on the loan program, we have to, even if the student loan is deferred, we still have to include a payment into the debt to income ratio. So depending on what program you're going with, it's going to be anywhere from 0.5% to 1% if there's no dollar amount on the credit report of the balance. So sometimes if someone has, I mean, I've seen somebody with $400,000 in student loans. So if somebody,
I hope they're a surgeon.
Chiropractor.
Oh my God.
Right?
Isn't that 2 years of school?
I don't know.
What school did they go to?
I have no idea.
The Harvard School of Chiropractic?
It was crazy. So and then I'll see people that, have all this student loan debt in their servers. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that.
It's tough. It's tough. I've seen it with my own mother. She graduated from Wayne State University and was a teacher for many years, even here in Hillsborough County for several years. It becomes a problem for some people. You get a job and next thing you know, like you're reminded of something you might have forgot about for years, and all of a sudden you're not making the money you should be, and it's such a scam. It's such a scam. I'm not as knowledgeable enough about student loans because I've never taken one. Thankfully, even though I did have some of an education, a fraction of an education. I'm looking at my wife that has a PhD, so I have to kind of keep it cool when I talk about going to school. I wrestled in high school. No, not on the team though. No, I'm joking. It was on the team. No, but I see that. I see it as one of the biggest scams, and
it's crazy.
Not just because of it's more of a moral thing. And here's what I'm getting at. It's not just the expense and not just, now you have a 40 or even a 60, 80, $100,000 debt that you're gonna have to pay off for several years of your career, but they're dishing these out to 17 and 18-year-olds. That's the problem I have with it. That's the issue for me. It's that. So this kid can't get a $5,000 credit card. You mean this kid can't buy a $15,000 car? He doesn't have the credit. No, he can't get that rental because he doesn't have any history and he doesn't have capital. But you're going to give him 50 grand today cash and he's going to use it for keggers for the next 2 years. That's a problem. Yeah. Am I onto something? Because I think I saw a lot of that.
I never thought about it that way, and
I'm thought provoking today.
You are.
Woo!
I totally agree with you. I mean, my daughter's going into 11th grade next year. We've looked at a few schools. Some of these schools are $80,000 a year, not $80,000.
80,000 what? Dirhams?
No.
Liras? What are we talking about?
Per year.
Mexican dollars?
No.
For the school or for for a degree? You mean for like a 4-year? What?
Yes.
She must be a smart girl.
No, I mean,
I just said no.
no, she's amazing. She's
Okay,
gonna get a full ride.
but explain $80,000 a year.
Yes. So I don't want to say the name of the school because we toured it and she wants to go there. She loves it. Yeah, right. I'm like, oh great, it's $80,000 per year.
Wow, those VA virtual assistants of yours better get working.
My college that I went to Bentley, and I think it's $70,000 a year right now
For what?
for a bachelor degree.
All right. Well, I mean, well, that's expensive. 70 a year for a bachelor's degree.
So when you were saying 30, 40, 50, I'm like, where are they going to school? It's
Well, I'm talking about the the first one they take out, because they take out, in a lot of cases, take out more than one. The first one, when I was growing up, I don't know, I may be wrong, but growing up in my time, it was kind of like the first student loan would be about 40 grand. That's kind of what I always remember. People would be like, oh, I'd always hear that was sort of like that big lump sum a lot of the college students that were taking these $40,000 loans. I don't know if that was just a round number that my psyche is latched onto, but in any case, it's a lot less than what you're talking about.
right. Well, and that's what they were. I mean, back in the day, like I went to college from 97 to 2001, and I want to say my college was maybe 30 or 40,000. I was fortunate; my parents paid. I didn't have to worry. I went to a private.
Back in that day, wow. Back, I used to walk 15 feet up the hill.
Both ways.
Yeah, the grandpa from Rugrats. I'm that old. He used to tell me, back in my day, we used to walk 15 miles up the snow.
Oh, I heard that.
I'm like, what? Did you go to another school district? Why would you do that? Did you go to? I think they were going to like one of those choice schools. That's why they're walking so far.
Probably.
Most schools are within like 20-minute walk of where you live. But in any case, I can get on a tangent. I don't want to. Save me. Okay, back to lending. Here's the next one. So total scam, we get that. I totally think that student loans are a scam. And isn't it the only loan that you can't
not forgiven?
Like bankruptcy and
I think so.
Right? Yeah. Total scam.
Yeah.
Total scam. Okay. So, all right, pivoting a little bit here. People around the country right now, especially here, in Florida, in our market that we understand more, are renting a lot. All right. And what I'm getting at is that a family of 5 or something, and both parents may be working, and they can't get approved for a home right now, maybe that the payment might be $2,800 a month. All right. $2,800 a month. But they're in a rental where they're paying $3,100 or $3,200 a month for probably the same kind of home. So what I'm getting at here is, should mortgage lenders be able to, or should there be an initiative, in your opinion, to start using more alternative credit scoring models that can help to qualify people for mortgages that probably could afford a mortgage, but the way that things are structured right now are being told no?
So there's 4 main criteria for that we look at. Credit is number one. So you had mentioned credit. I mean, credit's credit. I don't know. We'll go down to a 580. Some will go down even lower. Debt to income ratio is pretty big. And so that's the other main thing, is that depending on the program, they can't go over 45%. Some are 50%. Some are 60%. So an FHA government loan, or a VA, which is also a government loan for veterans, the debt to income ratio allowance is much higher than a conventional loan. But they've gotten really strict on lending guidelines over the past year. And so they've not only gotten strict on lending guidelines, they've imposed a lot of LLPAs, which is a loan level price adjustment for all sorts of things. So like if your credit score is too low, your interest rate is going to be much higher. So the lending over the past year has just been really, really, really tightened up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been tight since 2008. I mean, after that financial crisis. But here's the thing. And, I wrote that book, Short Sale Secrets Unlocked. After 2008, I was completely blindsided. Like, I remember in 2006, I was in Atlanta, Georgia. I was in an investment seminar. Donald Trump He was there talking on stage. He was selling his real estate. He had courses on, real estate. Robert Kiyosaki was there. He was talking, Kim Kiyosaki. And they all said in '06, when the market was booming, that we're about to have a crash. And I was like, no way.
I bet Robert was very excited to hear this.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, that's what he's always, though he's praying for it.
Yeah.
It's like half of his...
At this point, because you know why? I was like making a killing in my, early 20s, mid 20s, and never saw it coming. And in '08, when that happened, I said, I am not going to let this happen again. And so what I did is I started reading the history of real estate booms, busts, and market crashes. And in my book, I talk about how I only go back to 1834 in the book, but 1834 to 1836 had a huge boom. In 1837, there was a financial crisis. Banks were closing. People were going into foreclosure. It's every 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
It was bound to happen again.
Yeah. I don't want you to break your point. Good?
Good.
Okay, so here's what I want to say about that. I do believe in trends. I think that bringing out that historic graph that shows interest rates, starting from the early 70s, it's more of an eye opener for consumers to see where we're at in a big picture wise of things. That
right.
A 6% interest rate is not that high, and I've explained that in other ways on this podcast before. But here's what I wanted to say about that. I totally lost my train of thought. You have to help me out here, Danielle, on my own show.
Okay, so going back to
my gosh. No, I had a rebuttal I had the crash. Here's my thank you, producer. You have a microphone, by the way. So here's my thing about that. I believe in all those trends. I just feel like we might be getting to a point now where if we do hit another crash, it might be caused by something that we haven't had in the past, more technological. The buzzwords, of course, like your cryptocurrency or, what just happened with Silicon Valley Bank. I mean, that's a big one right there, right? That's more of a tech-based bank that I don't have any idea. I don't know anything about it, but I know that didn't exist 20 years ago. And banks and stuff, they had a little bit more of a, for lack of a better word, what's the word? My breakfast is wearing off here. More of an analog setup than like a digital, which kind of keeps things a little bit more secure, not as easy for things to crash because some kid knows how to do something in his mom's basement on his computer. The next thing you know, things are like falling apart. I think things like that may be my rebuttal's not trying to compete with your opinion. It's just spinning off of it. I think that may be what we would look at in the future as a crash or something, is something caused by something more techy, something that's out of the hands of regulators that some other party causes.
Well, so in my opinion, it doesn't matter the cause. It's still a recession, right? And so looking at exactly what we have to do as a person to get ourselves out of it, because there's a million different things that's going to cause a crash. So a lot of times I'll hear people say, oh, well, there's no risky lending guidelines anymore. There's no pay option arms. There's no stated income, stated asset. There's no this, there's no that. So there's not going to be a crash. Well, yeah, there is going to be a crash, right? But it doesn't mean that that's what caused it. It doesn't matter what caused it in '08, in 1929, in 1837. The bottom line is there still was a recession, right? So what are we going to do as real estate agents? What are we going to do as sales professionals? What are we going to do as business owners to pivot to not do the same thing? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, when we're in a recession, if you're going to do the same thing that you've been doing, you're probably not going to make it. So what are you going to do to pivot to prosper? And that's, a lot of what I talk about in that book.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask, but let me frame the question like this with an initial question. Would you say that lenders like yourself, who are actually brokers or brokers, not the actual financial institutions, but people like yourself in your position, you're on the side of the consumer, right? You want to see interest rates come down, right?
Of course.
Right. Okay. So my question to you, and this is in no way to put you on the spot, because like I tell all my guests, whatever's going on out there is not your fault. We're just the professionals in that industry. But as lenders, are you able to compete with the Fed, with them hiking the rates to help it make it a little more affordable for home buyers, or are you guys kind of at their will?
So just like real estate, you have RPAC, right, which is protecting you as real estate agents, and it's going against the government and fighting for, your industry. Well, we have the same. The National Association of Mortgage Bankers and other things that go ahead and fight against Congress and stuff like that. So we have the same. Of course, we don't want to see rates going, up and up and up. I thought about this the other day, and I was like, first of all, SVP Bank is not the only bank that's in trouble. And I watch.
Right. They were the cause, though, is what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah, they were the reason that all that happened.
And I think we're going to start to see more and more banks go under. And I was watching CNN the other day. I don't watch the news, but I do watch the financial news. Mm-hmm. And the guy last night was saying, when this stuff starts to happen, it's like cockroaches. Once you see one, you see a lot. Mm-hmm. And he said, I think we're going to start to see a lot more banks go under. And I agree. And think about it. Banks make their money off of interest. I know people in a 2.75% interest rate. Do you know how many people refinanced during that refi boom?
Oh, yeah. So that was huge for you guys. You guys are doing refis all day.
I stuck to purchase. I don't know why. I've always been like a big purchase, purchase lender. But
can I ask a question about refi? Because I'm curious. I haven't gone down this road as much. So just give me the difference between, if somebody was purchasing a home for $400,000, $400,000. The loan amount was $400,000. What their closing costs look like compared to somebody who's refinancing their home with $400,000 balance left on their loan. What is same profile, same person, as much as similar as you can be? What are those? Are refi closing costs the same?
The same.
Okay.
They're pretty. Yeah. I mean, they're a little bit lower because you don't have certain things when it comes to a purchase. Like tax from the state of Florida and different things like that. It's a little bit lower, but not by a lot.
Okay, so ultimately, if someone is going to refinance in the future with their home, they want to, as a consumer, they want to be aware that they're going to also eat like funding fees, just like when they bought the home initially.
Exactly.
Okay, and that's good to know.
Yeah, and Florida's more expensive. I mean, I'm licensed in other states as well. So in other states, it's a lot. It's not as expensive.
What's the cheap? What would you say the least expensive state that you've seen?
Like Illinois is not that expensive to refi.
Well, are the funding fees to purchase also a lot lower there too? Is it all kind of across the board, or is it more just the refi?
We have certain things in Florida that's just we have no state income tax. So we have to make up our money. And this is what I tell people all the time. We make a lot of our money in real estate, not necessarily the real estate tax.
Disneyland and real estate.
Yeah.
Those are the two big ones.
Yeah. Tourism. Yeah. Because if you go to Massachusetts or Connecticut or New York or New Jersey, their annual real estate taxes are high.
Ridiculous.
A lot higher than they are.
Just taxes in general in those states, California and New York. I mean, that's why hundreds of thousands of people left, if not a million or more. Yeah, they are. Well, I mean, how many times are we going to go yes before we're like, I don't have any more room to go yes, there's somebody right behind me. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, everyone that's made it down here, great. But I think we're closing up pretty soon. Mickey Mouse will at the border, bring cash.
Well, DeSantis is probably going to run for the White House, though.
I'm in.
I am too.
What do you think?
I think he'll be awesome.
I'm in. I mean, he's done some surprising things for a guy
but then who are we going to get?
What do you mean? For a governor?
Yeah, who would take his spot? So that would be, a question.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not huge on politics, but I can say that if he was to be pres, I mean, whoever's going to be in Florida would probably need his. Yeah, otherwise someone like Gillum, who almost 50-50 split it the last election, who was really close, will come in and take it if they don't. So I would say it'd probably be somebody on his level. I think Trump has done what he's done in, I've never done politics on the show. Let's try now. Let me try this shirt on really quick. Hold on. I think Trump has actually done bad for the Republican Party, where there are some good people there. And it's so everyone is like, oh no, what are we going to get? But they're not all, I mean, whatever. They're all politicians at the end of the day, but I think that we just got so culture shocked with Trump, and that we feel like that's what the Republican Party is. No, I feel like someone like Ron DeSantis can come in and really turn things around as for the party. I don't know about for the country. You can't come in and inherit all these problems and expect in 4 years to fix it. Right. It's just not normal to think that. I mean, it's not feasible. But he could turn things around for the party, where he can leave a different taste in people's mouths after 4 years, and people be like, hey, yeah, that's what a conservative party is supposed to feel like in America.
Right.
So I think he has that going for him. But man, it's the worst job in the world. So I'm totally against dictatorship. I'm against someone being, I'm not for someone being in charge of anywhere for like 15 or 20 years. No, but if you only have 4 years,
Right.
how long does it take for you to actually like, get trained up on the job and figure out how to use that computer? Like, no, I mean, it's the most important job in the world. And you have this like one shot. But I'm also under the impression that they don't have as much, it's more.
But at this point, I'm happy it's only 4 years.
Yeah, I think it's more of a reality TV. It's like TV though. I mean, it's like every 2 years we've got a new whether it's the Senate every 2 years. It's an ongoing, never ending thing. I mean, you go to Russia and they're like an election. That's like once in every turn of the century. They're like, wow, it's an election. I haven't seen one of those since like 47 years ago. So I don't know. It's just too much. I'm not like a big.
I'm not either.
I'm not big on I enjoy politics. And remember, I was also a producer and host on Money Talk 1010. Is like the most conservative radio news in Tampa. Like it was a very conservative radio station, and I was there for a better part of a decade. So I mean, I have a pretty good grasp on like what's going on because I was there. It was part of my job, but I just don't. I find it interesting because I've been able to separate myself from thinking that really like whatever's really going on there on that TV or with those politicians or those group of people out there. I've been able to kind of convince myself that doesn't have any real bearing on me and my household, me and my life. My life went on, has gone on as much as the way I'd want it to. And anytime it hasn't gone the way I wanted to, it definitely wasn't Trump's fault or Biden's fault or any of theirs fault. It was my fault or maybe someone else's fault, but most likely it was my fault. Well, that's really who it is. And if someone like Trump or Biden has such a hindrance on your life, it's because they're taking up way damn too much real estate up in your head.
Exactly.
That's your fault.
Yeah.
That's not their fault.
No, I've seen it really like family split up because of politics, and it's crazy. And so I don't get involved. My family knows not to talk to me about it. I don't want to hear about it because I've seen literal family fights over like Democrat, Republican, blah, blah, blah. It's not worth it.
Taken too seriously.
It's not worth it. And you know what? You have zero control over it.
Yeah.
Go and vote, okay? But you have no control. So why are you going to watch Fox News all day, get all upset when this happens? Like, I don't know anything that happens because I just don't watch.
So something I always think of this, like I'll troll my dad. We don't fight about politics because he's just so old school, and I love him more than anything, but he's just a little bit out of touch when it comes to like where society is today with tech. I mean, he's an old school guy, came from trucking. He's a good man, but a little out of touch. So when the COVID relief checks were coming out, we got like 3 or 4 of them or whatever it was over the course of that time, right? And those were a joke anyway. I mean, thanks for the money, but it's a complete joke. It broke down to like $2 a day or something like that when you really look at how much they were giving us. But so at that time, we were waiting. I think it was like the one that was gonna be like $1,400, and I mean, we didn't need it, but free money is free money, especially when you got a household of people, and that's bring it on, why not? But at that time, it was Mitch McConnell, because Trump was in office, and Mitch McConnell was the one who was sort of like in charge of. He had the power, whatever it was. He had sort of like his. It was his. He had the mallet on when the checks coming out, all that. Like he was sort of the, whatever. Is the seat, the head. I don't know what he is in Congress. I could care less. I cannot stand that guy. If there's anyone in politics, it'd be that guy.
Sounds vaguely familiar. I don't really know who he is.
If I did his impression, he'd get up and leave. If I did an impression, he sounds like a rat eating cheese when he's speaking. It's terrible. So at that time, my dad was like, "Are they sending the checks out?" I was like, I don't know. I go, it's up to that guy. He goes, who? I go, that's Mitch McConnell. And at the time I knew his position, and now that's how much I don't care. Like, I don't even remember what it is, but I go, that's the guy and he thought I was just messing with jokes. He's like, no. I'm like, no. I go, that guy right there decides if you get your $1,400, and I'm just trolling him. And he's getting so upset that this guy on the TV actually is the one who's really going to decide whether or not And I wasn't lying. He really was like, and that's, for me, that's an issue. Like this sniveling, cheese-eating rat that's been in Congress for like as long as my dad's been alive. No, that's as bad as a man, as a crooked monarch, because it's not the president, it's the people in Congress that have been there for decades. Those are really the ones who are a lot more crooked than some of our presidents have been.
Right.
It's Congress. And it doesn't matter what side they're on. I mean, we've heard everybody talk about like, why does Nancy Pelosi have $140 million or more? And don't quote me on that. That's probably completely off, but they are worth upwards or more than $100 million, her and her husband. Do you know why?
I have no idea.
I'll tell you why. Because her husband is well involved in Wall Street. Okay. They've been well involved with all, like he's a Wall Street guy. Okay.
That's why they're after
And
them.
she, oh yeah, that's a big part. There's a lot of them. Yeah, because this is a problem. And she is in Congress and knows exactly when the hammer is going to come down on policies and different things that affect the market. The way that these people have bet in the stock market, and by these people, I mean the Pelosi's, they are better they're better than Warren Buffett. They're better than all of those guys combined with a Chat GPT calculator. Like, it doesn't make sense. There's nobody that makes bets like that in Wall Street. They've known when to bet, and now they're worth upwards of $100 million. I got to find out how much she's worth. Hold on.
I mean, it sounds like they need to go to the clink. Like,
All right, they're worth 100. They're worth, and this is from Wikipedia. They would change this quickly if it wasn't true. They're worth about $114 million. This is a congressperson. So let's do this now. What is the salary for someone in Congress for 30 years?
it's probably like 60.
All right. Let's just put it this way. The vice president makes $230,000. She's not making vice president money. I doubt it. She's the Speaker of the House. She's making $223,000 a year. Do the math. How does that add up to $114 million at any point? It doesn't. It just doesn't. Even if you're there for 30 years, you're not even scratching that. It's not even close. That money is all from stock. That's all from stock. Betting on stuff that no one else knew. It's insider trading. That's the word that I should have led with. Insider trading. Plain and simple. So the crookedness is, it's like a spider web. You know, you can talk about a lot of stuff.
That's why I don't pay attention. I'm like, okay, they can do their thing. We got to focus on us, right? You know?
That's right. And I'm glad that me and my wife kind of agree with it. We agreed that yeah, that guy's president, but so what? Like we do what we do. We live our lives. If there is something going out on the streets, we're probably going to stay home. We're not going to go out into the street and put ourselves in danger if there is some unrest in the streets.
Right.
Sometimes it's justified. Most of the time it's not. You know, that's not how you change policy. But if it's going on, I'm not going to go in and put myself in it. So I think that people who have, who are affected, maybe their mental health is affected by politics because they're watching too much news. I think that's definitely a thing, and then they're on Facebook all day just arguing with themselves, basically.
Yeah.
And I think it's so unhealthy. All of that is completely unhealthy.
I agree.
One of the best things that I did, and it's impossible now, is I deleted Facebook for 18 months.
Wow.
But that was before I was in real estate. It's a little bit hard when you're building a business and you kind of want to have the presence. But that was nice. I enjoyed it. I still had like my other Instagram, and I still had YouTube. I still had other things, but I got rid of Facebook because I just saw Facebook, and I still do, as a different kind of platform. It's more like a neighborhood. I feel like it's more like the neighborhood, and everybody's standing outside on their porch like this guy. It's just like the neighborhood, and everybody's loud.
Because I have a totally different take on it, but I also don't. I use it a lot for business, and so I'm not, on there looking for whatever. I mean, I use it a lot for business, so.
No, and that's the thing, right? I try to keep it about business, but sometimes you give in. Next thing you know, you're taking pictures of this and that, and and you're more personal stuff. But we can circle back a little bit to like personal branding. That's important. You don't want 100% of just business posts. You want to be relatable. Yeah. My stepdogger, my 9-year-old Yorkshire Terrier, she helps with that. People can relate. You want to be relatable.
Yes.
Not too serious. You want to be serious about your business. You want to deliver information in a good, professional manner, but you also want people to sort of see you as a human. You want to humanize yourself a little.
Well, and people, honestly, when I say I use it for business, if you go on my Facebook, you're going to see not a lot of business posts. I mean, you'll see, so you have to, and that's what I teach in my class, like you have to give, business and personal. No one wants to see business all day. They're going to start blocking you, right? So they want to see you. They want to see like the real you too, not like, oh, everything's unicorns and rainbows and wonderful.
Right.
Like that's not life,
Mm-hmm.
So if you're using Facebook for business, you got to, personal, put stuff out there, maybe, stuff.
Choose your battles. You don't want to put it all out there. If the laundry's dirty, maybe wash it first.
Yeah, right.
If you catch the analogy. So let me ask you this: from your standpoint, your YouTube channels, in case you missed it the first time, the first YouTube channel is Danielle Damianov on YouTube, and the second one is
Real Estate Secrets Unlocked.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was the first one or the second one. So Real Estate Secrets Unlocked, and you can also go to shortsalesecretsunlocked.com to get more information about the books, more information about Danielle and some of the other projects, and definitely check out the YouTube. So on your YouTubes, what is the content that you find has garnered the most engagement for you, the most interest? What is working for you that you find? Maybe some stuff is just your core audience is looking at it, and then some stuff you find that, okay, that's getting out to my casual audience that I don't know so much.
So I put everything on YouTube. In fact, the great thing about YouTube is I also use it to like host a lot of my videos. So like all of my class videos and stuff like that, you can't see them. They're hosted, they're unlisted, right? So that way, I mean, I have tons of videos on there, but they're unlisted. Or if we talked earlier about Reels, right? So if you hire a virtual assistant, you can put your videos on there, put them unlisted, and have your virtual assistants just go to your YouTube channel, create the Reels and whatever from there. You can schedule out the content. So when I put stuff though on YouTube, it doesn't just go on YouTube. It goes on YouTube, it goes on Facebook. I send an email out with, the information on the YouTube. So I don't know when it comes to engagement. I get a lot of stuff on just like little trainings, little things. I did the Chat GPT. That went out in an email to everybody also.
And people are interested in that too. It's a hot topic.
Right.
Let's circle back to that now. Let's play with Chat GPT.
Yeah.
You down?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. This is going to be clunky. I might have to edit a little bit, but I'm going to open up Chat GPT and we're going to see like how far we can take her. Let's name him first, or her. We're gonna name, because that's the other thing. I name my assistants, that way I know who I'm talking to. Okay, so excuse the delay here, but we'll get there. Okay. All right. Producer, turn on your mic. I need you in on this one. Turn your mic on. Keep your headphones off. Keep getting your hair tangled in your headphones. It's hilarious. I'm glad I'm not a girl. You on? Oh, talking to the mic so we can hear you good.
I'm here.
Wow. All right, stay there. You don't need to look at us. I'd rather hear you nicely. All right, so I want you to name our assistant on Chat GPT. And keep it clean, kid.
Chocolate.
Now I know what she's thinking.
Sorry.
I am too.
Chat GPT, I'm going to name you Chocolate, and you're going to be our assistant. Can you help us? Question mark. Okay. I'll probably edit this part just so it'll be a little cleaner, but we'll get it. We got this. All right. Okay. Sure, I'd be happy to help. What can I assist you with today? I'd rather have confirmation that her name's Chocolate, but she didn't confirm.
Why don't you ask her?
That's why you're here. It's picking up everything. Okay, you know what? I type a lot better than I use. I'm a quick typer. It's not going to work.
Yeah, it's
All right, Chocolate. Here she is. She already popped up on here. All right, what is your name? As you mentioned earlier, my name is Chocolate.
She's giving you attitude.
She's like, as you mentioned earlier, my name is Chocolate. So like, is that a racial thing? No. All right. So Chocolate, I have a question. Would you rather vote for Biden or Trump? I'm going to get some arbitrary BS. Watch. She's going to not even want. As an AI, I hate when it starts off as an AI language model because she's going to say, I can't really do that. So she says, however, I can provide information and answer factual questions. Okay. Help me out here. Let's challenge her.
I was going to ask Chocolate if she can predict the future.
About the market.
About the market.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't ask that before.
Give us an idea on where the real estate market and interest rates are going in the next 5 years.
Also, what's going to happen with the banks?
She's going to be like, get out of here. As an AI, okay, it's not working as well as I thought, but hold on. She has a lot to say here. Hold on a second. She says, of course, as an AI language model, I do not have access to this insider information. She's trying to cover her tracks, but there's a but there. However, I can provide some information based on current trends and forecasts. Regarding the real estate market, the general consensus among experts is that the market will continue to grow. Sounds like a sales pitch. One factor could affect real estate market is the ongoing COVID-19, old news. Another factor to consider is demographic shifts, aging population.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, a little bit too blah, blah for me. All right, I got this. If I wanted to learn about real estate and also have a good mindset, can you recommend 5 books for me to read? But let's split hairs here. Hold on. Make sure I got this. The books are no more than 50 pages each with pictures. Certainly. Here are 5 short books on real estate and mindset that might be helpful. Okay. The ABCs of Real Estate Investing by Ken McElroy. The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, which we know very well, by Gary Keller. There you go, Chat GPT. It's a thin one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's not thick. It's thin. Gary gets to the point.
It's the red book.
It's the red book. Yeah. It's not thick. I think it's like that paperback. The Psychology of Selling. Sounds interesting. Think and Grow Rich. I think I've heard of that one. Yeah. And The Compound Effect. Okay, so I haven't heard of that one.
That is the best book I've read. It's
The Compound Effect?
Yes.
Okay, it's on the list then. And it's only 48 pages. These all fall right under my element.
Audible. It's awesome.
Oh, and I can listen. So some of my favorites that aren't listed here, not as real estate related, but I love The Tipping Point. Have you read it?
It's in my Audible. Not yet.
Read it. It's a must.
I was halfway through it, though, and it was
It's good.
a little dry.
Maybe it's dry, but I think that just consuming it again, especially understanding what it is, and
I have a good one for you.
go ahead. The Outliers.
The conversion code is probably one of the best.
I've heard of it, but I don't. As long as it's an audio, I can read it. I can read it. I can.
Mine's highlighted, starred,
Oh wow.
like that.
Yeah. Now my pocket protractor, I retired it many years ago. I haven't read anything that doesn't have pictures in it for a long time. Now I'm just being self-deprecating. I don't read as much as I should. I'd love to. It's time though. I'm also maybe I don't know if I'm ADD, but I want to work on something while I'm listening to something, while I have something on mute, like a news station or something. So I'm very hard to just focus on one thing. I need a podcast in my ear or something. So audiobooks are really good. So The Tipping Point and Outliers are 2 that I recommend for people who want to sort of try to find, maybe it's a little bit more about finding yourself while you've already maybe you've found yourself, you have a business, but you kind of need to refine finding yourself and sort of figure out how to tip over to that next thing. And The Tipping Point's great because they talk about a lot of brands that we're familiar with and their upstart stories and just sort of why they became so big and what those tipping points were. And it's just interesting because that's what the book's about. And the thing is that those tipping points are never necessarily what you would think they are. They're, it's not money or mass marketing, with money. It's always, these stories are always very organic, but you can learn a lot from them especially because it has a lot to do with trends and stuff and using certain people and certain demographics for certain things. It's really interesting. I would recommend circling back to it. It's also not a very long one either, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Fairly thin. I usually gravitate towards those, so I like those ones. Yeah.
Those are very thin.
Yeah, and I get, big text. That looks like some 14-point font right there. That's my stuff. Let's go. Okay. I like it. I'm in.
Traction is a good one. Really good.
Traction?
Yeah.
Mm.
Traction.
Lala's looking at me like I'm the book reader and she's really the book reader.
So Lala, chime in. No, I do. I'm reading 3 books. I read 3 books at once. So I have, right now I'm listening to 12 Months to 1 Million on Audible. I'm reading The Conversion Code. So I don't know if you read Miracle Morning, but that's what I do. I have a Miracle Morning every morning. I'm up at 5. It's until 7.
That is a miracle for me.
And that's when I read, I journal, I work, I write the book. Like all of that has to happen before 7.
No, I'm joking. I'm up at 5 every day. In bed by 6.
You're up at 5, snoozing at 5:15. I'm back in bed at. No, and then at night I have to like calm my mind down. I don't watch TV, so I mean I do a little bit, but you know.
Everybody says that. You're binging on Netflix.
Oh, I'll binge on.
Yeah, we know.
You know. Well, no, not.
She's like, I don't watch TV. Tiger King. Click.
No, I'm more like Real Housewives and that type of stuff.
Okay. Just joking. Kid. I kid. We're friends here. We're all friends here. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, I don't feel like we got anything out of Chat GPT, and I want to get something out of her because I'm paying the monthly plus fee. So let's see what we can get out of her.
She can also do like diets and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good point. That's a great point. That's a really great point. So you can, like you said, the diet, you could tell it like who you are, all about yourself, maybe some of your medical history, all these different things, and say, okay, and I weigh this much, and I want to weigh this much. I want to have more tone. I want that diet. Give me the diet. Give me the workout plan.
Meal plan.
And
I had to do a 7-day meal plan.
That will kill a lot of jobs once people catch on to that. That's going to be unfortunate for people like in fitness and nutrition, because if somebody can just get it for free.
My opinion on that, true. Yeah. Yes and no. But what comes in the whole, and this is coming from someone that does not have a personal trainer. Well, I probably need one. Accountability, right? So that's where that personal trainer will come in, is the accountability piece.
Right. You have a point. The last guest I had on here, the last episode, just dropped today actually on YouTube, Zeke Samples. He was for maybe 15 years, or maybe more. He was a nutritionist and a personal trainer for like some high-end some high-end clients. And he told me a lot of different stories, a lot of interesting stuff. And what I gather is you either have the will or you don't. It's kind of like quitting smoking or something similar. You can have 10 coaches, but you're going to have to want to do it. So if you're there doing it with the coach, I mean, I have the theory that, and it's not all across the board. There are circumstances where people need someone, but I think most people, once they have that will and that drive, they're going to do it either way. They're going to do it at home with just body weight stuff, or if they have to, or they're going to go out and spend thousands of dollars. Either way, they're going to get it done because they have decided that they're going to do it. Right. And I think that goes along with like a lot of things, quitting stuff that you have an addiction to, or mindset's so big.
Waking up at 5. I used to be a snoozeaholic. I mean, I literally, my husband would want to kill me because my alarm would go off and I would snooze. It's like every 8 minutes, I think. It goes off for like an hour and a half. I'm like, just keep hitting the snooze button. But I was like, you know what? I have stuff that I have to do. I cannot get everything done in one day. And I read the Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, and it was game changer.
So I was just watching this lovely lady, and I totally forgot who it was. She was talking about why hitting the snooze button was completely a terrible thing, very bad. I don't know. Even if you said her name, I don't even know who it was. I watch so much stuff that I like I said, I'll be working all day, but also watching like content and just like consuming it. And a lot of this paperwork in real estate is just boring. I mean, it's not that it's boring. It's just all like, I can get it done while I'm doing this stuff. I need stuff. So, okay. Again. See, that's the thing. No coffee today. It's not even the age. It's how many times I've been hit in the head probably over my life. I swear. Help me out, Danielle.
Oh, snooze is bad.
Okay, thank you. Wow. I didn't have the coffee today. I had the breakfast, but without the coffee. I've been complaining like every time I come in to do a show that I don't have breakfast, and that's my fault, no one else's. But I don't have my breakfast, and I don't have that same cognitive. You're not as sharp if you don't eat it. Just the way it is, especially in the morning. And usually I'm running on coffee. Today I didn't do the coffee. Now I'm running on the nice like food, and it's there. But then I'll be like, I have the energy, but I'm missing the coffee. Okay, so the snooze button. Here's the issue, and I am not the expert at this. I'm just regurgitating what I've heard from the expert. It's that the problem with snoozing is that when you go back to sleep, you're putting your body through another sleep cycle, and the sleep cycle takes 70 to 90 minutes. So once that alarm comes back on, you're going to notice that you're really alarmed on that second one. The first one is not as much. The second one, you're a little bit more alarmed on that wake up. And then you're far more groggy because your body is in the middle of this sleep cycle that has started over again. And if you snooze it again, it's the same thing. You continue to keep starting your body over because do you ever notice that when you go back to sleep, it's like an instant deep sleep? We just sink right back into it, not like going to sleep initially at night.
Probably before. I mean, I'm recovered.
Well, now you don't do that anymore, right?
But one snooze.
Yeah, and that's great. But I'm just talking about other people, of course. Yeah. So I'm sure that you remember that you when you fall back asleep, it's just deep, and then because you fall right back into the sleep cycle.
Notice the snooze button as it keeps going on.
Yeah, and so once you do wake up after one or two or three snoozes, you've put your body through the sleep cycles that they didn't complete, so you're just you become more groggy than if you had just woke up on the first go. So maybe just put your for like people like myself who I'll snooze. Jump out of bed. Well, I'd like to. But I think it's better to like tell yourself that, like, and maybe just give yourself the extra 50 minutes of sleep instead of the snooze button. You're going to do it anyway. Just set your alarm 50 minutes later and wake up.
Oh, well, I started doing that too, but now I'm good. I'm 5, 1 snooze, but it's just like.
Do you mean one snooze? Like it'll come on you and you'll snooze it once and you'll rest? Yeah. Try stopping that and see if your days are less groggy. And I should be preaching to myself here. I'm a complete hypocrite on my show. It's one of the best things that I do. But I could tell you that if you just give it a testaroo.
As I say, not as I do.
That's right. If you just give it an old testaroo and see what happens like a couple times.
I'll try next week.
And even compare it. Do it both ways and see what happens. Like do 2 days in a row of waking up right away without it, and then do 2 days in a row with snoozing and take note of how you feel those mornings waking up for the next 2 hours.
Right.
Might be something there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be onto something. Chat GPTs are useless. Useless Chat GPT.
I'd go back to the free.
I couldn't even slam it. It was resistant. It was like, no, Chat GPT has taken over.
The free version.
Well, no, that's the problem. The problem with the free version is it's not always accessible. Like, and that's if you are depending on it.
As much. I use it, but not as much. Like over this past weekend, with Short Sale Secrets Unlocked, I'm sending letters, right, to homeowners that have got the Liz pendants. And so I went in and said, ChatGPT, write a letter from a concerned real estate agent or investor to a homeowner that received a pre-foreclosure notice in the mail and let them know that I can help. Freaking killer. It was amazing what it wrote. Way better, and was very concerned in the letter. And I was just like, this is amazing. So all I did was copy paste, put it in my CRM. It's going to go out as an email, and I'm also going to send it out as a letter. I use batch leads, and so pull the pre-foreclosures, set it out on a campaign, send the letters. That's it. So those are things where it's really good.
Another thing that some people may not realize, and the only reason I found this out is because my wife is fluent in 4 or maybe 5 languages, and Chat GPT translates to, I know for sure for like Arabic text and probably French, far better and with perfect punctuation and perfect grammar than Google Translate. Google Translate is actually is like the B team now when it comes to that, because it kind of like literally translates what you're putting in there. Chat GPT knows what you're saying and converts it into the next language rather than, some words don't convert. Like if you're just going to translate like all these words word for word, it might not have the same meaning, or it might change a word or two, and they may know what you're saying because like there's only one or two words off. But Chat GPT actually has the ability to really take what you've said and package it into the other with perfect grammar and exactly what words you should use and all of that. So that's another one. I would encourage people to use it for translation as well. It's better than Google.
So one of the things that I was doing because we're just talking about ChatGPT, but there's so many AI, right? So I would let's just say you wanted to do some sort of like little video on something on pre-foreclosures. You can go into ChatGPT, ask it a question, and then, or you can say, do a 30-second commercial on blah, 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 whatever. And then you can copy it, paste it into Pictory.ai. Pictory.ai will then create a video. So literally within 10 minutes, ChatGPT can do the wording. You put it in Pictory.ai. It then creates the video, and you can use a voiceover with Murph.ai. And then the voiceover does the words, and within 10 minutes, and you, out of all people, because you do editing, can have this entire like little video done.
I actually did it. I did a couple of those. I wanted you to get through it before I said that. Not with that. So no, so studio.d. I don't look. You can find it. It's called D-ID. Basically, it's an AI. Actually, it's a process because I had to use this. I had to use a few different things, like you said. But what I ended up having was I was able to use Lala's photo and make it as though Lala was doing this presentation and talking and all this. Or I was able to choose other people. That's what I did. I actually went and I used, because we're really well involved with different communities and different like ethnicities and stuff, just because me and my wife are both different cultures and we're both well involved with those cultures. And so what I did is I found I had a different app. It's here. It's on Discord. So there's this Discord channel. Discord's so ridiculous. I have no idea how this stuff works. I have no clue how this works. I was going to say how this shit works, and then I stopped myself. But now I realized that, where's your book? Your book is called...
Oh, yeah.
I have it somewhere here. Come on. Where is it? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. The first book that's available on Amazon right now. Real Estate Secrets Unlocked. A real estate agent's guide to mass production. Shit you don't learn in real estate school. I love that. I love it. So I'm allowed to say shit now.
Yeah, you are.
Like South Park. All right. So Discord has a channel on here. And if you search for Midjourney, so that's what it's called on Discord. You search for Midjourney. And it has this. I actually had it create a bunch of stuff. And have you heard of those AIs where you tell it like what to draw for you and give it all this scenario? That's what I did. I had it draw these assistants and it like exactly how I wanted them to look and all this stuff. And my wife was like, "Who's that?" It's like, she's not real, but she's our assistant. She's $0 an hour. And so it was they look real, and they're not real people. It gave me options and stuff, but I just want to turn that around quickly to show you. But basically, what these people are doing here, I don't know if you can see. Probably, I don't know if you can see, but down here in the chat, you'll write what you want, and then the AI software, will actually like create it for you. Let me see if you can see.
That's awesome.
So all these, it's like this ongoing chat. Let me see if I can find some. It's weird. It's not loading like normal. Give me a second.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, so it's on Discord. So
I'm surprised you have a PC.
It's not just a PC. It's not even a regular PC. It's a business PC. But my Apple's in there. I do have one just for people like you. No, I actually prefer this because I've been using PC since like I was a child, and I'm really efficient on it. So I do use it, but I have the Mac for texting, because that's how I can do some quick texting with many clients at the same time for lead generating, using like our business iPhone rather than texting on the phone, copying, pasting, and like all these different lead generation stuff that we do. Trade secrets. But so I used the Discord channel to create the person that I wanted. That way I could have this like original face that isn't anybody. So if you like Google image searched it, it's not going to come up as a person. It's just my own creation of a person. And then I would take that person and put it on that video channel, that video creator. It's called Studio DID. And in there, you can choose different voices. You can choose different accents if you want her to sound or him to sound like they're from a different country. And all, like, whatever, like, you can totally do that. And then what it is, you can do like a presentation or like a video and put it out to all these different languages. Like, I'll tell it, do it in this language, now do it in this language, and distribute it to different Facebook groups. And it's this person sitting there telling them, hey, my name is Sarah, and we just want to let you know that we're here to help you with any real estate needs that you have, any questions you have. Of course, our consultations are free. Give us a call anytime. And it's boom. It's just like, and then what's good about it, another thing, there's another layer to it. It's like a credibility factor. Like, we're not the ones promoting it. There's this other person saying, oh yeah, you should call Lala or you should call Marc.
Right.
And there's that chef analogy. Like, do you want a chef that goes around telling everybody, hey, I have the best hamburgers ever? Or do you want like the chef who's in the back and everybody's like, he has the best hamburgers ever, right? And I want to be that guy. So like, that's always been like a philosophy. You want to be that chef. So that was always cool because you can create and you could check it out for yourself. You could kind of create your own sort of spokesperson is kind of what I'm getting at. Like a spokesperson, you can use the same one every time and no one would ever know it's not a real person. There's no way you can know it's not a real person.
I have to check that out.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'll send you the links for sure.
Yeah.
There's just so many things. And so you said earlier that there are so many different AI, right? But Chat GPT is the Google of AI, because now anytime anyone's talking about it, they say Chat GPT is like Kleenex, right? You know what I'm getting at with Kleenex? Well, Kleenex is a brand.
Yeah.
It's not tissue. Tissue is the thing, but people say, can you give me a Kleenex? No matter what, right? So there's Kleenex, there's Google, you Google it.
Just like Heinz ketchup is the only ketchup.
Well, I don't mean to step on your toes, but it's not the same. It's not.
Oh, I think so.
Well, I've never said, hey, can you put some Heinz? If I said put some Heinz on my hot dog, they'd be like, well, which one?
Know what?
Well, you would just think ketchup. I would be like, well, I don't know, mustard, ketchup, which one? All right, let's just agree to agree with you because you're my guest. Let's just agree to agree.
We can do this.
No, we're good. This is your house too. Okay, so again, Lala, where's my coffee? I'm joking. She's not my coffee person. She's my executive producer. I'm very replaceable, apparently. So they're the Google of AI at this point, because that's what the way everyone talks about it. Any YouTube videos that are about it, it just says Chat GPT. That is the word, and it will continue on forever, probably to be the word, unless there's like some turning point in the technology and something else bigger comes out, right? Because we used to say,
I wonder what Chat GPT 4 is, because
it just came out. Well, it's just, I don't know. It's an updated version. Let me see if that's what we're using here. Are we using Chat GPT 4? Here, let me ask it. Oh, by the way, I asked it the difference between it and Google, and it is very proud of itself. Which version of GPT are you? It's still 3, because when it asked me if I wanted to use 4, I said no. I like I said, I'm skip this version guy. Like every time, like on all those softwares I was showing you in the control room, like every time I'm in here, it'll ask me, do you want the new version? I'm like, no, it's free. And I'm like, no, skip.
Yeah, I had to go to Apple like a week ago, and the guy's like, why is this not, like, why do you not have the new version on your phone? He's like, this is why you're having all these problems. He's like, this came out like 9 months ago.
All right, you ready for some oxymoron BS here? I don't know if those are the right words. I'll be the judge of that. All right. I asked it, how can I get Chat GPT 4? You ready for this? As an AI language model, I am not able to provide information on how to obtain access to Chat GPT since it is not yet publicly available. You are Chat GPT. You are Chat GPT, like, and plus it is available.
Maybe, okay,
but I'm
liminally
plus member.
Maybe it's what you were saying before.
As an AI language model, it says I am not affiliated with any membership services. So who's collecting my $20 then? GPT? Man.
Google.
I want a refund.
Google.
Probably. Let's see what it said about the difference between it and Google. So I said, how does Chat GPT compare to Google as an AI language model? Blah, 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 blah. It says Google is a search engine that helps users find information on the internet, while Chat GPT is a conversational AI that can communicate and generate responses to users' queries. Additionally, Chat GPT is trained specifically for language processing and generation, as I mentioned earlier, for the language. So it's telling us what I just said, that it's better at language processing than Google. So that's interesting. And whereas Google has a wider range of applications beyond natural language processing. So I think that's their thing right now is like, hey, we're better at language processing than you.
Well, and I think like a lot with Google, I mean, you type something into Google, it's SEO, like you're going to get the information.
And it's controlled. Let's not forget, it's controlled. Exactly. It's not an open, there are some search engines that I can recommend though, that are not, and they'll get you what you're, the real. They won't give you.
Ask Jeeves.
No, but that's what I was going to say earlier. When I said, unless there's a turning point in that tech space that another word comes along like ChatGPT, we used to say, ask Jeeves. Before Google came along, like, hold on, let me ask Jeeves.
Yeah.
So that was, and then Google came along with their.
Just like MySpace. Let me go to MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace me. Well, that didn't last as long as it could have. No. It turned into music, and then Napster. Do you know how they? Of course, I remember Napster. I was a little thief, burning CDs all day. I'm sorry, Master Pete. My bad. Okay. So where were we? We're talking about 3 different things.
Down different routes.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's fun, right? This is not going to be a highlight clip or anything.
ChatGPT, the language.
Okay. ChatGPT is, I mean, there's just so many different things it can do, but yeah, again, it can give you spreadsheets. Let's say you had a list of just phone numbers and all that stuff and whatever it is, and you just want it to be categorized, like it'll just put it into a spreadsheet and it'll just copy paste it into Excel. There's a bunch of things that you can do there.
Yeah. And I think if you go on YouTube and like whatever, you can even probably ask maybe ChatGPT like all of the different things, but there's so many things that can do that it's.
Yeah. I'll end that topic with this. There's something called prompts, okay? And that's what ChatGPT needs for it to give you the best results is prompting it correctly. Right. And prompting it means, telling it like, giving it the directions and all that, right? Prompting is so important that there is a market for people who are selling those prompts that you can just buy them. And that way you're like copy pasting, whatever the case is. So prompting it is very important to kind of prime it and tell it everything and get its mind wrapped around how you want it to think before you tell it what to do. Right. So get it thinking a certain way with certain prompts. And hey, I'll give you an example. What I'll tell it is I'll say, okay, you're a real estate professional. You've been in the business for 35 years and I need your wisdom and your help. I need you to help me. Can you help me? It'll say, yeah. What do you need help with? And it'll think like a 35-year veteran in the business. And I can tell it, hey, you just got out of college, you're brand new to the business, what kind of advice would you give me? And then it'll give you advice based on like knowledge of someone. So prompting it is very, and I feel like I'm the wrong person to explain this stuff. I'm just having fun with it, but there's so much more surface to scratch here than I'm getting to.
If you ask a generic question, it's going to give you a generic answer. So the more detailed you are in the question that it asks and what you're looking to do or who you are or who your target audience is, the more detailed you get, the more it's going to get detailed in what it gives you.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, this has been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danielle Damianov, and you can get her book, Short Sales Secrets Unlocked, which goes on sale Friday, March 24th on Amazon. You can get all that information from her website, shortsalessecretsunlocked.com. And of course, don't forget her other book that is out now on Amazon. I can't wait to say this. Real Estate Secrets Unlocked, a real estate agent's guide to mass production. Shit you don't learn in real estate school. Love it. I know. Can I say it again? No. Okay. All right. It's been swell. Lala, anything?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the books, if you don't mind, and why
she's joking.
She did that.
I think she's joking. No, we're good.
No, I mean.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I thought because you were smiling, like she's always smiling. I'm here. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you were joking. Like that.
No, because we don't know anything about the book that's coming. If we can know just a little bit about it.
Yeah,
Good call.
so the first book, Real Estate Secrets Unlocked, basically I went through and it just gave each chapter was knowledge of working with buyers, working with sellers, business planning, lead generation, things like that. The second book, I started seeing what was happening in the real estate market, and I was like, oh my God, like back in 2020, 2021, I'm like, this is getting crazy. And I told you guys a little while ago that I really did not want what happened to me in 2008, literally leaving me like almost flat broke with 2 little kids and everything else. I was like, this can't happen again. And I saw Robert Kiyosaki and Donald Trump in '06 and Kim Kiyosaki talking about what was going to happen in '08, and I didn't believe them. And then I said, you know what? History repeats itself. So let me start studying that and seeing when I'm going to be prepared again, because the people that made so much money back in 2008, 9, 10 are the ones that had the cash.
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
And so I was making sure that
And you didn't need a lot of it. You just needed enough to get into the game.
I'm a Chinese drywall. You barely need.
Man, I remember at that time I lived in Detroit. I had friends who were buying like blocks of homes for like $100,000.
Yeah.
You know, they were nice.
Have it up there?
Sorry?
You guys didn't have it up there though.
What's it?
The Chinese drywall.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
Oh, okay. No, that was my area, like Southwest Florida.
Does it come with COVID?
Oh,
The Wuhan flu?
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy that you just said that. Because no, it was bad. Anyways, look it up. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay. I'm a little bit reluctant to type anything Chinese into my Google. I'm just joking.
But anyway, so I started the book of August of 2021, and people were at that time like, you're crazy, that we're not going to have a recession, blah, blah, blah. And here we are.
Yeah. So you had your finger on the pulse then. It's interesting. I didn't see a recession coming. I just saw a bunch of people getting free money from the government. It didn't make sense. And I knew they were going to get it back somehow. During COVID, like people were collecting a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I knew, that's the thing that I knew. I was like, hold on. Okay. That's not going to go unanswered. They're not just going to get it back. They're going to get it back in 2 or 3 or 4-fold in some way or another. We're not going to get all this free money that came from the government,
Right.
Who's already hiding trillions of dollars probably that we don't know about. We're a very rich country, but I think we have more money than we account for. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think our country has more money than is accounted for. And they're also not a charity organization. They're not giving out free money without a plan.
Exactly.
So, and all those checks that came out to us at that time was all very, like, I mean, what is it? $1,400 that covered how many months of people not having jobs? I mean, $1,400, right? And not only that, those COVID bills, those checks, those were implemented into these bills that had like 100 other policies that had all these other policy changes that, well, if you want these checks out, we need to sign all these other 100 policies. Like that's a crock of crap. So,
well, now here we are. I mean, we're in a recession.
Yeah.
And bottom line is people will say, oh, I don't think we're going to see foreclosures and stuff like that. Here's the thing. When someone loses their job, it doesn't matter if they have equity or not. If they're not making their mortgage payments, they're eventually going to go into foreclosure. And if they have a year of no payments and then they have forced placed insurance, they haven't paid their taxes, that eats up, right, with all of the equity. Maybe not all.
Right. And there's accruing interest and all that too.
So I have a short sale masterclass. So I did the book. I was going to do an ebook. I was not going to do the book. The book is very small, but it talks about the opportunity. It talks about pre-foreclosure. It talks about how you can prosper real estate agents and real estate investors. And then I have a short sale masterclass that's going to be a step-by-step guide showing you this is exactly what you need to do. This is how you talk to the homeowners. This is how you find the leads. These are the letters that you send to them. This is how you negotiate with the bank, because I went from like almost being flat broke to literally like 40 listings in a very short period of time working pre-foreclosures. So anybody that wants to pivot in this, recession and is done with like trying to just get deals from friends and family, come to the short sale masterclass because it's going to be awesome. I'm doing a live class, but then after that, it's a digital course. So whoever doesn't I'm only doing live once.
When is that? So that way,
14th.
April 14th. How can they find that?
Short Sale Secrets Unlocked.
Yep. Okay, good. So you can get the books there. You can get information about Danielle, her contact information, shortsalesecretsunlocked.com. And don't forget to check out her YouTubes, her main YouTube, Danielle Damianov, I'm sorry.
Damionov.
Danielle Damianov, youtube.com/@Danielle Damianov. And it's been really fun having you on.
Yes.
I think we went onto some tangents, which I think is always one of my biggest goals, is for us to find
Oh, I'm in for a tangent.
Awesome. It's been an awesome, hopefully first of another visit in the future.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Danielle, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure having you on our program. Welcome home. I'm Marc.
Thank you. It's been fun.